I already know. I know you're asking, why another podcast? Why another Overland podcast? What are you going to cover that's not already out there? Well, we've put together something to bring some context to that answer for you. Let's watch.
In 2020, we saw the world come to a screeching halt, and so did most overland traveling. Then, as the weather started to heat up, a lot of the restrictions were loosened, and there were lots of people who took advantage of having nowhere to go, and for the first time, got a taste of real freedom. However, international travel for most still wasn't possible. So that inspired numerous first-time travelers to consider cross-country road trips, do local camping, and basically reimagining the great American cross-country road trip.
The interest in overlanding actually increased this past year. Mindsets have changed and eyes have been opened. And now, with vaccinations starting to be administered, it seems things may go somewhat back to normal. But I don't think for many they can ever really get back to normal in their hearts and minds after spending time traveling and being on the road. I met many people this year on my journeys who were leaving their home state for the first time. And now they're on some epic adventure they always thought was a dream. I talked to an older couple who always wanted to visit all the major national parks, and this was the first time they had the opportunity. They mentioned as they get closer to their goal now, they're interested in seeing even more. And there were several occasions where I met more than one family traveling together across the country, adventuring for the summer together. You don't just get a vaccination and move on from those type of experiences. That's why I predict a boom year for U.S. overland travel in 2021. And making the assumption that international travel is most likely going to be the last thing to get back to normal, I thought it would be an excellent time to inspire and inform others about overlanding. I'll cover the not-so-sexy topics that slip through the cracks. We'll talk about things like the not-so-glamorous side of solo travel, security, strategies for winning national park lotteries. We'll explore topics like getting the proper insurance for your overlanding rig, answer questions like, are you leaving yourself financially exposed, not having adequate travel insurance? Practical real-life safety tips for cities as well as when you're in more remote areas. There will be versus battles of gear and product like underwear, socks, cast iron, showers, stoves. You get it. Also this year, I noticed that electric assist bicycles or e-bikes have grown in popularity during the pandemic, allowing people with varying physical abilities to enjoy biking and escape from lockdowns. Overlanders are incorporating them as a way to go even farther and be more remote. And I recently read that electric bikes are projected to overtake car sales later this decade in Europe. I just received a new Rad Power electric bike, which I plan to incorporate into my overland travels this year. So if that's something you're into or curious about, I'll keep you posted on my progress, and I'll be announcing group off-road rides this summer all across the U.S. Now, over the years during my travels, I've observed many similarities between overlanders. For many, overlanding is a means to other pursuits and hobbies. They seem to fall into groups, and some of those groups intersect. There's the beverage group there's the beverage with a view group. These are people whose top priority is camping in very scenic locations, as well as stopping in scenic locations with the goal of drinking their favorite beverage there. I personally love a fresh cup of coffee in the morning, enjoying a picturesque sunrise. One of the biggest groups by far is the group who intertwine their passion for overlanding with photography and filmmaking. If you love landscape photography or wildlife photography, overlanding fits perfectly. I love to enjoy the beautiful images and videos on social media they share. Now, the most universal group is those who love to eat. Who doesn't enjoy a delicious meal at camp or along the trail? I haven't met anybody yet that isn't in this group. Everybody loves to eat, but Some have a real passion for the cooking part. So if you fall into any of those groups, you'll enjoy my periodic product reviews, demonstrations, camp recipes, and taste tests. We'll take a look at things like binoculars, cameras, coffee, wine, and top shelf liquor, specialty food items, and all types of things. And yes, I'll be giving my perspectives on all the usual suspects, rigs, tents, fridges, blah, blah, blah. There will be interviews with some of your favorite overlanders from social media. We'll be talking to vendors about their products and just interesting people that I think you'll enjoy. Because of the amount of travel I do each year and the distances I cover, I'm often asked questions on Instagram that I think can be more effectively answered and shared with you here on the podcast. I'll be able to delve deeper into the questions I get, things like navigation, which I'm asked about most often. I can share my experiences on the road, both good and bad, and provide long-term critique of gear related to this whole overlanding thing. And please, feel free to put your questions in the comments. I'll be reading every one. I've had some of you specifically reach out to me recently to inquire about the studio. Well, we have a multi-camera setup and a workspace equipped for interviews, and there will be animations and visual aids when demonstrating products, illustrating points and referencing current information. And we're currently fine-tuning our workflow and will be very soon including multiple formats of live community participation during live broadcasts. I currently have an Overlanding game show that just started production and have plans to do watch parties, workshops, and interactive streams. And soon we'll be periodically transmitting live before an audience at scenic remote locations, as well as doing multi-camera roving coverage of some of the most popular overlanding and outdoor industry events. I'll update you soon on all of this. Now, with all of that out of the way, let's look at current overlanding news.